Good morning. This is World History 2, Unit 8, Politics in the 19th Century, Germany, Italian Unification, Napoleon, things like that. Before we get into the lesson, a couple housekeeping things, mainly because I'm realizing that if you're watching this, you're probably not watching the whole thing, so I should probably do the housekeeping stuff first. Unit 8 test will go live Thursday morning for all virtual and A-Day students. B-Day students will do the test in class on Friday. Remember that Friday is the final day to get any missing work to me for the first 9 weeks. I'll be checking grades on Monday, so, catch my drift there. Midterm next week. A-Day students will review on Monday, take the midterm on Tuesday. B-Day students will review on Thursday, take the midterm Friday. Honestly, I might let you guys start the midterm on Monday for A-Day and Thursday for B-Day, but we'll see that next week. That's all the housekeeping stuff I have. So let's go ahead and get into this lesson. Starting with Napoleon, short little angry dude out of France. Okay, he was born in Corsica, which was a French-ruled island in the Mediterranean. It's off the coast, in between Italy and France. His family were minor nobles but had little money. What that means is, yes, they were nobles, okay? But if President Trump is the king, his family was like the mayor of Hillsville. Okay, they had the title but no real money. Make sense? At 9, he was sent to France to be trained for the military. He was 20 when the revolution broke out. He scored several major victories during the revolution. He really impressed a lot of people, and then overtook France. Okay, and what is known as a coup d'état. A coup d'état, usually we'll just see it as coup. What this is a military overthrow of the government. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Under Napoleon, he turned France into an empire. Okay? And he tried to unify Europe under this French flag. Did not work. Okay? Much of Europe saw Napoleon as an oppressor, a foreigner, someone they didn't want in charge. So there were a bunch of revolts against his authority. He also had the Napoleonic Code. Okay? Prior to this, most places, let's say you got arrested for murder, okay? Then they said, you got arrested for murder. That was it. You broke the law. Whereas after Napoleon, it's like a violation of Code 3, Statute 11, Paragraph 4, or whatever, okay? Like when you guys start driving, if you get pulled over for speeding or whatever, on the ticket, it will say, violation of Virginia Statute 37.3-2 or whatever it is. Okay? Does that make sense? All law now has been codified because of the Napoleonic Code. He awakened feelings of national pride in places that was taken over. They decided, we're Italians. We don't want a French guy controlling us. Or we're Germans. We're Prussians. We're Spaniards. Whatever. Napoleon was a European ruler who conquered most of Europe. This resulted in the Congress of Vienna. The Congress of Vienna was held in 1814 in Austria. It was hosted by Prince Clemens von Metternich. Okay? The goal of Congress was to turn back the clock, basically to restore Europe to the way it was prior to the French Revolution, before Napoleon. Think of it this way. Any of y'all have a little brother, little sister?
Yeah.
Okay. How many times have they, for example, I got a toddler, okay? I talked about him last week. 2 years old. Cute little thing. Hateful little thing. If somehow he sees this video, Luke, I do love you. You're a little twerp sometimes, though. So, I've got to cover my bases. Now, Nothing annoys me more than when I clean the house during his nap. He wakes up, first thing he does is he wanders into the living room, and you know, like the square shelvings where you can put the baskets in it. We put his toys in those. Okay? Looks nice. Matches the aesthetic. Whatever. Pulls out the basket, dumps it over. Toys go everywhere. Okay? In this example, Luke is Napoleon. Okay? Luke is destroying the living room with his toys. Napoleon took over all of Europe. So what the Congress does is the same thing I do the next time he falls asleep. They turn back the clock to before Napoleon. I turn back the clock to before Luke woke up by cleaning up the living room again. And it looks just the way it was before he woke up. Then he wakes up and does it all over. Does that make sense? What happens here is the Congress turns back the clock before Napoleon and then kicks Napoleon out of Europe. And then eventually he comes back, but that's a different story. So the main thing Congress tried to do, there were three things. You had restore monarchies. They wanted to put kings and queens back in power. You had new political philosophies, conservatism, liberalism, which we'll talk about in a second. You had the balance of power doctrine, which is no one country is more powerful than the others. Okay? And I'll explain that a little bit more in a second. And then they redrew the map of Europe. So they lumped different things together and changed the map. Make sense? So, we talked about restoring Europe. So we're going to skip over that. Balance of power. Now, let's say that because I wanted you guys to think better of me, so I decided to get in a fight. Okay? I wanted you guys to see me as tough. But I got to find someone to fight. So I decide I'm going to fight Conor McGregor. Okay, y'all know who I'm talking about? UFC fighter. Now, I'm going to die. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm going to die. Now, if we put this balance of power doctrine against it, one of two things is going to happen. Either we're going to cut off both of McGregor's arms and one of his legs, and then I'm going to fight him. Or someone's going to give me a gun, and instead of fighting him, I'm just going to shoot. Okay? Because no one country is more powerful than the others. Everyone gets a level playing field. Well, the fight's tomorrow, and I don't have time to train to get on a level playing field with McGregor. Plus, the dude's insane. So we're going to have to do something else. So let's chop his arms off. Looks like something out of The Walking Dead. Okay? Does that make sense? Now, what they did here instead was they took away some military, added some military in other places, put checks and balances in place. Ain't nobody got their arms chopped off. Make sense? Okay. Restoring monarchies, we talked about that some. Okay. We're going to play a word association game. You know what those are? I tell you a word, you tell me what's the first thing that comes to your mind. Conservative. Nothing? Have y'all been watching the news like I told you to watch the news? Don't lie to me.
No.
Okay. When we talk about U.S. politics, we talk about big C conservative, that's Republicans, big L liberal, which are Democrats. Okay? Conservative and liberal here is something different. So,
She was here yesterday.
Okay. Liberalism in this sense is what we have in the United States. Okay? We're talking about freedoms, democracy. We don't have a king or a queen. There is no one church in charge of everything. Okay, does that make sense? That's these liberal, these are the crazy ideas that came out of the Congress of Vienna. Liberalism, people wanted change. Okay, and the way to remember that is remember Barack Obama when he ran for president the first time in 2008. Okay? He had all these blue and red posters made up. And they were really cool posters. Whether you like the guy or not, he ran a great campaign. There were blue and red posters that had his face on it. And under them they either said hope or change. And that's how you remember liberalism here, is it was a change. You were changing from kings and queens and things like that to democracy, to freedoms. Okay? That make sense? Yes, no, yes. Okay. Conservatism here is a political philosophy that emphasizes the preserving of traditions. Basically, conservatism, they wanted things to stay the same. Okay? They wanted kings and queens. They wanted a strong church in charge of the government. Things like that. Make sense? Okay. We already talked about those. Nationalism. All right. Now, nationalism is like candy. Okay? Nationalism is a good thing. Too much nationalism is a bad thing. Just like candy. Candy's a good thing. Too much candy, you're going to get your teeth pulled out. Because they're going to rot out of your skull. Now, if this is center, okay? Where I'm standing is center. Nationalism, at its core, fine. I love the United States. I think it's a great country. I'm glad I live here. I don't want to live anywhere else. Okay? That's nationalism. It's a pride in your country, a pride in your culture. Now, for those of you, for you guys, for y'all watching, this is my right hand. This is right for me. This is left for me. That way, it makes sense. Because if you go far right, okay, and you go ultra-nationalist, so if this is center, okay, you go right to right about here. This is an ultra-crazy nationalist, but this is about where a lot of like Trump supporters are. This huge, I'm going to put a huge American flag on the back of my truck, and we're going to fly the flag, and we're going to support everything, and no matter what, America's the greatest thing ever. Okay? Still nothing wrong right there. You just have a lot of pride in your country, okay? And then there's a line. And when you cross that line to far right, okay, far right extremism, this is where you get things like the Klan and Nazis. And it's, if you don't look like me, you're against my country. And I love America so much, or for example with the Nazis, I love Germany so much, we're going to get rid of everyone who could be an enemy. The Jews, the Gypsies, the Roma, anyone. You're going to blindly follow whoever's in charge. Does that make sense? This is where you get to racism and a lot of bad things if you go ultra-nationalist. So, this is fine. Supporting Trump, waving the flag. I still think the big flags on the back of the pickup trucks is a bad idea, personally, because one of those poles snap, it impels the little old lady driving behind. But that's just me. So, this is fine. Once you cross that line, it's not fine anymore. Okay? On the other hand, you go left, that's where you get, like, the communists. Okay? Antifa. People who just hate the country and want to burn it down and see it burn. But the way this is it's not a line. Okay? The people way over there and the people way over there are basically the same. Violent, shouldn't be in any kind of civilized society, probably should be in prison. Okay? The ones who are burning down the cities are just the same as the ones who are these horrible racist people. It's the people in the middle that get kind of buried beneath all of it. Does that make sense? Like in a classroom, the ones who get the most attention are the kids that constantly have to get yelled at because they're doing the wrong thing. And the good kids fall by the wayside. Okay? Now it's a lot easier when there's 5 of you. Okay? And y'all are good kids. I haven't had to really yell at any of you. Unless you can't keep your mask on, child.
I'm sorry.
Besides that, I haven't had to yell at any of y'all. Except for I see way too many noses.
I'm just rubbing my nose.
You're fine. So, you guys are good. I enjoy this class. This class. I hate my third block. I hate my third block because that's my planning block. And I just sit there with my thoughts and my... No. Too many spiders crawling out of the closets up here. So, nationalism. Do we understand nationalism? I went a little sideways there, but whatever. I can't do my usual example because it doesn't make sense on video. So, nationalism grows with national pride, economic competition, and democratic ideals. The Congress of Vienna led to a lot of discontent, led to revolutions in 1848. Nationalists in Germany and Italy pushed these revolutions, okay? They were all just smacked down like the hand of God. And all of them were killed. It was bad. They were very unsuccessful. Now, Britain didn't have these issues because they gave more rights to the people and made slavery illegal through legislative means by making laws. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. So with Italy, remember, if the guy's name sounds like it belongs on the Olive Garden menu, they're Italian. You got Count Cavour, sounds like caviar. This guy right here unified northern Italy. Giuseppe Garibaldi, this guy right here, he led a group known as the Red Shirts. Okay? He unified southern Italy and then joined it with northern Italy. So it's your ABCs again. What comes first, C or G?
C.
Thank you, C. Good job. What comes first? Whoops. N or S? N. So Cavour goes with northern Italy. Garibaldi goes with southern Italy. Does that make sense? Papal states were the last ones to join Italy. Right here, the important thing is Sardinia. Cavour was in Sardinia. This is the main state to unify northern Italy. Then you got Otto von Bismarck. Okay? He unified Germany through war and nationalist feelings, and he had a real politic. Okay? Real politic basically said whatever you need to do to achieve and hold power. Justifies all means to achieve and hold power. And Bismarck had a speech, very famous speech. It goes along the lines, this isn't word for word, but it's along the lines of the problems of today will not be solved through speeches and majority decisions. We can only solve these problems through blood and iron. What's he mean? What's not effective? What's not going to work? Basically, for example, let's move this giant jug of hand sanitizer for a second. This works better when I have 20 kids in here. But if, let's say, Billy, okay? Little Billy sits in his desk. Little Billy just constantly is on his phone, or just talking, or just being a nuisance, okay? And I'm sitting here, Billy, you gotta get off your phone, man. Billy, you gotta be quiet so I can continue my lesson. Billy, please. Come on, man. Come on, Billy. Do what you're told. Okay, it's not ever gonna work. Or is Billy just one of these hard-headed kids that won't do what he's told no matter what? Right, he's a hard-headed kid. So, if we listen to Bismarck, I'm up here teaching one day. Billy won't get off his phone. Let's move this hand sanitizer so I don't spill it. Billy won't get off his phone. So instead of saying, hey, Billy, can you put your phone away, please? Or Billy, can you be quiet, please? I just take this stool and just whack Billy in the top of the head with it. Okay? Now, Billy's in the floor bleeding. Am I going to have any issues out of anybody else, though? No. Problems of today aren't going to be solved by, hey, can you please stop talking, Billy? Through blood and iron. Or, I guess, steel, aluminum, I don't know what this is made of. Make sense? Now, disclaimer, I've never actually hit a kid with a stool. I'm not going to. I kind of like my job, but it makes a good example. Okay. Now, I have to put those little asterisks so I don't get fired. We all understand Bismarck? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the other thing Bismarck did is he was smart. Okay, very smart. Not this one. Not this one. This one. The final war. Oh, one thing. Bismarck, he's not German. Okay, he's Prussian. At this point, Prussia is what modern day Germany is. Okay? But you got to understand that. Prussia was the main state to unify Germany. Like how Virginia was a colony and then became a part of the United States? Same sort of thing here. Okay. Franco-Prussian War. This would be like, basically what happened is, let's say little Billy, okay? Little Billy wants to fight Jim. Okay? Now, he knows, okay, because little Billy's the troublemaker, that if he swings first, then he's getting suspended and Jim doesn't get in trouble. So what little Billy does is little Billy steals Brad's phone. Okay? And sends a text from Brad to Jim saying that little Billy's been, or that Brad's been talking smack about Jim's mom. Okay? So now Jim, after school, takes a swing at Brad. Little Billy, being the good person he is, jumps in to defend Brad and just pummels Jim. Little Billy's seen as good because he defended his friend. But who started this whole fight? Little Billy, with a fake text message. Make sense? Same thing happens here. Bismarck fakes a telegram from the Prussian chancellor to the French ambassador talking smack about the King of France. Insulting the king. Well, the king can't let that stand. So the King of France invades Prussia, and then Prussia just wipes the floor with him. Does that make sense? Bismarck was smart. He knew what he was doing. And unified all these German states into a modern day Germany. Questions? Ta-da. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, you have a test that goes live tomorrow for Unit 8. Your midterm will go live Tuesday for, or maybe Monday. Haven't decided yet. Definitely be on the lookout for the midterm by Monday. Your midterm review goes live tomorrow. Make sure to get that done because it is a double classwork grade. And your midterm test itself is a 2.5 times test grade. Okay? So, make sure you do this. Make sure you get all your work to me by the 9th. Okay? Anything missing? I would suggest starting with tests, then quizzes, then classwork, because those test grades will help you more than anything, and quite a few of you still have zeros for test grades. If you have any questions, any concerns, anything like that, shoot me an email, leave a comment under here or whatever, and I'll get to it and help you out best I can. And I will talk to you guys later on.